a new tune.
I didn't hear you. Yes, it just came in.
Would be nice to dance to.
It is.
What's on the other side?
Well, it's another new one.
Do you mind playing it for me?
No. This way.
For I'm content the angels must have sent you, and they meant you just for me.
Hi, I'm Steve Newmark. If you're like most guys, you see good-looking women every day you'd like to meet. And like most guys, you probably don't meet them as often as you'd like. You know, most men think they should just naturally have a knack for meeting women. But the truth is, it's a skill like any other that needs to be learned. You wouldn't expect to be a great surgeon if you never went to med school. Well, unfortunately, there's no school that teaches you how to meet women. That's why we designed this video, to give you the information and skills you need to meet any woman you want. With the techniques you'll learn in this program, you can take advantage of all those opportunities that pass you by every day. Here's an example of what I'm talking about.
What a hunk.
I'm in love. I wonder if she's interested in me. I wish I knew the right thing to say.
Why doesn't he come over here? What does he need, an engraved invitation?
I can't tell. I don't have a clue. Maybe I'll throw myself at her feet and beg. Nah, that never works. Why doesn't she give me a sign?
What's wrong with this guy?
She doesn't seem interested. I don't need this. I'm getting out of here.
Men.
Look familiar? Well, that's what happens to most of us. This tape will show you how to handle that situation so that you come out a winner. During the course of this program, you'll learn our 5-step plan for meeting the women you desire. The inner game of meeting women is probably the most important step of all. We'll show you how to prepare yourself mentally to ensure your success. Step number 2, understanding body language. We'll show you how to tell if a woman is interested in you by her body language. And you'll find out how to broadcast the right messages through your own body language so that a woman will be interested in you even before you approach her. Step number 3, the approach. You'll learn the 5 most effective ways to approach a woman. Step number 4, how to keep a conversation interesting. We'll show you what to do after you've said hello. You'll learn how to keep a conversation lively and interesting and how to get her to want more. Step number 5, getting the date. You'll learn the right things to say to get her telephone number or set up a date on the spot. The techniques in this video are based on years of research, observing what works and what doesn't. We've talked to many men who are successful at meeting women. We've also talked to many women to find out what really turns them on. In order to have a complete perspective on what women really want, this program is being co-authored by a very savvy female expert, Rebecca Sidnor. She's the author of the best-selling book, Making Love Happen, one of the most popular dating and romance guides of the 90s. To ensure your success, we've also included at the conclusion of this tape a 30-day program for putting these techniques into action. Some of these suggestions may seem a little obvious to you. Let's face it, this isn't brain surgery. Just know that this is probably the most comprehensive program available for meeting women. And most importantly, it works. Step number 1 is the inner game, the contest that takes place inside our heads. You know, in sports, it's this mental game that often makes the difference between average and world-class athletes. The best athletes use many of the techniques we're going to talk about in this section.
When I see an attractive woman that I want to meet, I instantly feel like I'm about 14 years old, and I sweat and I stumble over my shoes and I make a fool of myself. Very self-conscious.
You know, most of us pass by great opportunities to meet women every day. The reason we don't is because we talk ourselves out of approaching them. Here's an example of what we often do when we see an attractive woman.
Wow, she's hot. But she won't be interested in me. She's too good looking. And let's face it, I'm not that great. I'm not good looking. I'm not smooth. I'm too shy. I don't have a lot of money. She's probably used to going out with guys who are rich. I'm not gonna go up to her and make a fool of myself.
So what stopped this guy? Fear and self-doubt, two of our most potent enemies. Because of fear and doubt, the guy in the video talked himself out of being with a woman who could have been very interested in him. He put himself down to the point that he convinced himself that he would fail. And that's what happens to most of us. Even if we're not aware of it, we talk ourselves out of what we want. You know, we all have something we beat ourselves up about. We're either too short or too tall, too young or too old, too fat or too thin. There's always something. Well, the main difference between guys who are successful and guys who aren't is that the successful ones don't let that negative voice in their head stop them. This negative voice and the fear that comes along with it can be defeated. Every time you walk away from something you're afraid of, it makes you more fearful. But every time you face it head on, it makes you less afraid. That fear voice in your head that always stops you will give you a dozen reasons not to approach a woman. It's not the right time, she's probably not interested, I'll wait till I'm in better shape. You know, you've heard it all. The key is to not pay attention to those excuses. It's just your fear. If you go ahead and do it anyway, you'll master that fear, and then you'll have all the women you can handle. Overcoming that fear will be the difference between you and the rest of the guys. So here's what to do. When you hear those negative thoughts, give yourself a little pep talk. Tell yourself the truth, that women want to be approached. They think it's flattering. And that you're an attractive guy. She'd be lucky to meet you. It's also helpful to remember all the successes with women you've had in the past. You know, because your negative voice has influenced you for so long, you may not believe these pep talks at first. It may take a while for this positive message to sink in, but the more you give yourself these pep talks, the more impact they'll have on you. It's just a matter of replacing those old negative messages that make you feel like giving up with new ones that give you courage. This is exactly what the most successful athletes do before a game. They talk themselves into success. Let me tell you about a guy who wanted to try out these techniques and decided that the beach would be the best place for him to meet women. Well, he went there one afternoon and he was really scared. He walked up and down the beach for about 3 hours before he could approach somebody. And by that time, almost everybody had left. But he didn't let his fear stop him, and he did go up to somebody. Soon he got it down to maybe 10 minutes of pacing before he approached somebody. The more he did it, the better he got. Eventually, he got to the point where he ended up sitting down with 8 out of 10 women, and about 40% of the time, he came away with their phone numbers. The main thing he told me was that he got less and less afraid the more he did it, and then he became more and more confident. By the end, he'd conquered that fear, and he had a lot of women to show for it. You may be sitting there thinking, what do women think about all this? Do they really want to be approached? Well, to find out what women really want and won't tell you, I'd like you to meet Rebecca Sidnor. She's talked to thousands of women because she's one of this country's leading romance consultants. To finish up our first section on the inner game, let's get the female point of view from Rebecca.
Women admire men who have enough confidence to approach them. Being approached is flattering. Women love the attention and the feeling of being singled out. It makes them feel special. Remember, women are romantics at heart, and there's nothing more romantic than having a man go out of his way to talk to you. It really makes our day. Don't let the fact that you're not a Tom Cruise lookalike stop you. Looks are not as important for women as they are for men.
Looks play their own part in it. They have an importance. However, they're not the most important thing. Okay, let's see. I guess on a scale of 1 to 10, looks would come in about a 5 or 6.
Women are more interested in the way a man makes them feel than the way he looks. A man with only average looks can succeed with a woman if he makes her feel desirable. Sensitivity is also important, as is a good sense of humor. Looks are secondary to these qualities. Don't second guess what a woman's type of man may be. You may be perfect for her and not even know it. A lot of beautiful women I know are dating guys who aren't that great looking, but they had other things these women were looking for.
I've dated men who people would say they aren't good looking and they're shorter than me because I'm very tall. And for me, it has no consequence whatsoever. I mean, like I said, I'm more concerned that the person is honest and they're sincere.
Body language is a key to sending the right message to women so that they're receptive to you. Here's an example of a guy using the wrong kind of body language and sending the wrong kind of message.
He's a good-looking guy, but what's his problem? I guess he thinks he's cool.
A lot of guys like the one in this video try to act cool and indifferent. They think that turns women on. They're wrong. Movie stars can get away with it because they're just great looking and famous. But for the average guy, acting aloof just turns women off.
I hate guys that, like, especially if you go out to bars or whatever, some of those guys, like, they sit there so cool, like you're supposed to walk up to them, and when you do, they're like, I know you want to talk. They just look at you like, I know you just want to talk to me. You know, that kind of attitude? I hate that. That's the worst.
Women are looking for a man they can trust and who's sincere, a man that is open and available. They're concerned about getting hurt. When they see a guy that communicates indifference, it's a warning sign that they could be hurt or mistreated. So it's important that you communicate before you approach a woman that you're friendly and non-threatening. This is done by open body language, which includes looking directly at a woman with a friendly smile, not a piercing gaze. Don't ever leer at her body. Keep your arms uncrossed, and keep your demeanor friendly and available. Another tip before you approach a woman is to take a few seconds to observe her and see what you can learn about her from her body language. You may notice things that could help you when you start talking.
Just stop and observe for a while, you know, and see how the person moves, what the person is drinking, what the person is wearing, how the person might react to someone else that approaches them. And then you could just take those and take what you've learned and apply that. And if it doesn't work, so what? Big deal. You know, you took a shot. You're either going to make it or you're going to fail, but at least you took a shot.
Now let's hear from Rebecca for the female point of view about body language.
Women don't always give out clear messages that they're interested, and even if they do, men don't always pick up on them. Research shows that most flirting signals are missed by men, partly because they don't know what to look for, and partly because most women aren't that adept at sending them. Sometimes we get embarrassed when we see a man we're attracted to, and we don't want to get caught staring. And if we do, we feel awkward and look the other way. When this happens, a woman may glance your way, catch your eye, and quickly look away. If this happens more than once, and you're not wearing a gorilla costume or happen to be her ex-husband, she probably would like to meet you. Now, if she looks at you and smiles, or returns your smile, get up and move. She just handed you an engraved invitation. She'll become discouraged and withdraw her interest soon if you don't respond. An excellent rule of thumb is that it's a good idea to approach a woman if you have a hint she might be interested. Chances are she will be. Observe the following demonstration, and you'll see a number of other flirting signals that you might be overlooking. The woman in this video was flirting by straightening her clothes, smoothing her hair, and touching her face and neck. Women often touch themselves in places where they would like to be touched. Okay, guys, if you're getting any of these signs, then your chances for success have gone way up. However, if you don't see these signs, don't be discouraged. She may be interested, but shy, distracted, or just lost in her own thoughts. By the way, don't waste your time on a woman who's wearing a wedding ring on her left ring finger. So, make the move, guys. We're waiting.
Now we're going to show you the 5 most effective approaches for meeting women. After you watch this section, you'll be able to take advantage of all the opportunities that normally pass you by every day. One important thing to realize is that women are really concerned about their safety. There's a lot of nuts out there, so the most important thing to communicate to a woman when you approach her is that you're safe, that you're a gentleman. Don't be loud or overly aggressive. Be polite, respectful, sincere. Try to stay light, and most importantly, relax and be yourself.
Just coming up and being yourself, because yourself is always going to come out anyway. So if you're not yourself when you start out, then you're not giving a good impression.
Possibly the easiest and least threatening approach is to ask for a favor, some kind of help, or for general information. You can ask for the time, directions, anything to get yourself started talking and making contact with a woman. This doesn't have to be information you really need. It's just an excuse to start talking. This approach is perfect for all those times that you're stuck in an elevator with an attractive woman or waiting in line at a supermarket. The man in the next video was nervous about meeting a woman, so he transferred his nervous energy into concern about missing the train and used this as a reason to connect with her.
Excuse me, I'm new here. Can you tell me, is this the stop for the 5L?
Oh, yes, it is.
And do you happen to know when it comes?
Well, it should be here in about 5 minutes.
Good, I was afraid I'd miss it.
Oh, no, you haven't missed it yet. Just sit back and relax.
Oh, thank you. Do you mind if I stay?
No.
Oh, thanks. You've been a great help. I really was afraid I'd miss it. My name's Bill, by the way.
Susan, glad to meet you.
You too.
Simple enough technique. He just made an excuse to talk to her. Chances are she's going to answer his question, and then he's made the initial contact. Now, you're not home free, of course. You still have to keep the conversation going. We'll talk about that in the next section. Here's some other kinds of questions you can ask. Let's say you're at the supermarket. You could say, do you know how to tell if this melon is ripe? Or in line for the movie, have you read any reviews about this movie? Or in the elevator, do you know a good place to eat lunch around here? The advantage to this approach is that it seems spontaneous and accidental. It doesn't feel to a woman like she's being picked up. It also gives you an opportunity to start something with a minimum of risk on your part. The second approach we recommend is to offer a compliment. This approach has the advantage of starting off a conversation in a really positive way. After all, who doesn't enjoy being complimented? The trick here is to study the woman for a moment and notice what is really unique about her. What makes her special? There's always something to compliment somebody on, so this is an easy one to come up with on the spot. Here are some examples of the complimentary open. Clothing. That's a beautiful dress you're wearing. Those are good colors for you. They really bring out your blue eyes. Jewelry. That's a very interesting necklace. What kind of stone is that? Smile. You've got a great smile. Her eyes. You have beautiful eyes, but I guess you hear that a lot. Something she's doing. You're a great tennis player. These may sound simple, and they are, but remember that what's important here is that you observe and be prepared to compliment a woman. If you are attracted to her in the first place, there's a good chance that what caught your eye in the beginning is what you can compliment her on. The following is a demonstration of what the complimentary approach looks like in action.
That's a nice scarf.
Thank you.
You know, I've been thinking of getting my sister something like that for her birthday. Do you mind if I ask where you picked it up?
Oh, just around the corner at the store. But it's the last one that they had.
Oh, no.
Actually, I'm sure that there's others there that you'd like.
Oh, good.
As you see in this demonstration, the compliment nice scarf had a natural follow-up question, where did you get it, that continued the conversation. You could see that she was flattered by what he said, but it's best not to compliment a woman on her body, beauty, or face, because they carry heavy sexual connotations and may turn her off. So play it safe.
I also hate it when they sit there and all they talk about is how attractive they find you. I'd rather have them talk about that I'm funny or that I said something smart. That's much more appealing than hearing about my legs.
We get the horn? Got a horn. The spontaneous approach is situational. You use anything that's happening in the moment as an excuse to start talking to somebody. It can be the bus being late, the weather, something funny that somebody just did. The essence of this approach is to be spontaneous and to use whatever pops into your head at the moment. This conveys a light attitude that's very attractive to women. Women often like the unexpected and appreciate somebody who can just wing it. This approach is especially effective when used with a humorous, light touch. Being light does a lot for you because it communicates that you're going to be fun to be with. And most importantly, because it puts her at ease and helps her to relax.
Make a few jokes. I mean, if you can make a few jokes about yourself, not everybody's so uptight. You know, just small one-liners is great. I found it to be great, so. But if I make fun of myself all the time, it works.
This doesn't mean you have to be Robin Williams or even have a great sense of humor. It's simply a matter of taking a light and playful attitude. This is an approach that women often use when they want to make contact with a man. Here's a demonstration of a woman using the spontaneous approach.
Is there any good news today?
Not really.
I guess I don't need this then.
You know, somebody ought to come out with a newspaper that only has good news in it.
You know, that's a terrific idea. I would be the first person to buy it.
Maybe we could start up a subscription base,
Oh,
huh?
what a wonderful idea.
There's plenty of people in this town that could use some good news.
It's true.
My name's Bill, by the way. What's yours?
Hi. My name's Susan.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
So, do you come to this park bench often?
This guy was sharp enough to tell that she was trying to connect, and he kept things going by continuing the conversation in the same light tone. Remember, there's always something in any situation that lends itself to an opening. Just keep your eyes open and be ready to say something. If she's interested, you'll be on your way. Women are looking for their knight in shining armor, so why not be one? Any opportunity you have to be chivalrous, to do a favor for a woman, is a lucky break. It could be offering her a flower, opening a door, lighting a cigarette, giving up your seat. There are a lot of these kind of opportunities. One example of this approach is buying a lady a drink or sending her a note through a bartender or waitress. She'll probably ask the bartender who sent the drink, and then she'll catch your eye. If she smiles at you, then take that as an invitation. But give her a few minutes so it doesn't seem like you're pouncing on her, and then come over and introduce yourself. Talking about bars, another good approach for a bar or party is to accidentally bump or brush against a woman you like. While you're apologizing to her, you can introduce yourself. Or if you're at a bar, situate yourself next to a woman and ask her to pass the popcorn. So what if there's no popcorn there? You've broken the ice and, most of all, started the conversation. The last, and possibly the most difficult approach, is the direct approach. Now, some men can do this well. For others, it's better to pick another approach that's more comfortable for you. With this approach, you find a way to directly introduce yourself. Your intentions to meet her are not disguised. Women report that they really appreciate a man who's honest and straightforward and is willing to be direct about his interest in her. Women also say that the smooth talker can often turn them off because it seems like he does this with everybody. What does work when men approach you, and what do you like them to do?
Just guys that are like sincere, like they don't like, if they know that they want to meet you, instead of like being all smooth, they just, you know, hi, I'm this, you know, how are you doing? And just being really nice, like a friend or something, not like, oh, hey, I want to pick you up, you know, Mr. Smooth. I hate like guys like Mr. Smooth Talker or something.
With a direct approach, it's helpful to introduce yourself and allow her a choice as to whether she wants to interact with you. Don't invade her space or seem too anxious. Remember, stay light. Here's an example of the direct approach done the wrong way.
No, I think you're right, yeah. Just a minute, though. I'm going to go over here. Hi, my name's Bill. Anybody sitting here?
No.
So, do you come here often? You know, that's funny, because you look familiar. Say, do you know the owner?
No.
Oh, well, I do. We play a lot of ball together. I'm quite a ball player myself. I play second base, of course. course, my law practice keeps me pretty busy, so I don't get a chance to play very much. But just the other day, you know, Fred was talking to me, that's the owner, and he said, Bill, you know, I think you're the best second baseman we've ever had on this team. Can you believe it? I've only been playing 2 weeks.
Whoa, that was painful. Okay, what went wrong there? First of all, the man broke rule number 1. He violated her space and privacy by sitting down before really being invited. The second problem he had was that he only talked about himself, and he didn't know how to ask the right questions to draw her out, which is the subject of our next section. But first, Rebecca and the woman's point of view on the 5 approaches.
Each of the 5 approaches has its own advantage. Asking for a favor is the least threatening for a woman, especially if you happen to meet her on the street. Women are usually eager to help others, and she'll be turned on by seeing a glimpse of your vulnerable side. Offering a compliment can be very flattering to a woman and put her at ease immediately. You guys just don't know how much time, energy, and effort we put into looking good. So why not tell us about it? The spontaneous approach is very natural, and it allows you to show your originality. Women like men who are unique, and if you can make her laugh about something, you'll break the ice immediately.
Say something that is catchy, you know, something that you know, makes you look twice.
The gentleman's approach works really well because, as far as most women are concerned, romance and sensitivity never go out of style. It's the little things like opening a door for a woman that really make a big difference, believe me.
One thing that works with me, if a man comes up and gives me a flower, I really like that.
The direct approach is very flattering to a woman because the man lets her know up front that he's interested. Women are usually immediately impressed with a man who has the chutzpah to walk over and introduce himself. You don't have to be a smooth talker to be direct. In fact, most women are turned off by guys who hand them lines like, "What's your sign?" or "Haven't I seen you here before?" These lines make a woman feel like you're just trying to score.
Things you never do is ask for somebody's horoscope sign or "Have I seen you before?" One of the best cities I ever lived at was Denver. And out in Denver, people there were just so friendly that they just wanted to meet you. And I think that's the big key is not to look at a woman and think, oh, can I be with her tonight? But more look at her and say, and find out who she is and what she like and approach it more towards a friend.
If you're a little shy and uncertain at first, that can actually endear you to her. She'll feel special that you overcame your discomfort to approach her. It doesn't matter what you say, it's making the contact that's important.
When a man approaches me, I don't want him to act. I want him to be himself. I want him to be honest. I guess it's nice if he comes out to be a little bit shy.
Step number 4 of our 5-step plan is a very crucial issue of what to say after you've made your approach. This is where many men have the most trouble. In the preceding video, the man made a crucial mistake by focusing the conversation totally on himself. He was trying to impress her with how great he was, but he just bored her.
Why can't men just be themselves? Quit trying to prove that there's something they're not or something bigger than they are, or that they know so-and-so and that they've got all these connections and that they're great and that, you know, their business is going well, and, you know, don't be so much talk. You know, just be yourself. And quit trying to impress people. Because when we're out and we see some guy, you know, trying to impress everyone around him, that's a pretty big turnoff.
The best strategy to keep a conversation going is to focus your attention on her. You know, women often complain that once a man approaches them, they talk too much about themselves. That's a big mistake. Find out what the woman is really interested in and ask her questions about that interest. Really listen to what she's saying and show by your follow-up questions that you understand what she's talking about.
When they talk about themselves, and they don't talk about feelings and personal and relationships like you and them. They just talk about themselves. And then sometimes they'll say, "Oh, I've been talking too much about myself. What do you think of me?" That's my favorite.
Another mistake the man in the video made was asking closed-ended questions, ones that only prompted yes or no answers or simple responses. The best questions are open-ended ones, like, what do you find most interesting about your work? Or why did you decide to get into your profession in the first place? These require longer answers and give the other person more to talk about. Here's an example of how to sustain a conversation in a way that works.
You're right. But let's finish this up later, okay? Hi, my name's Bill. I saw you sitting over here, and I just had to come over and say hi.
Hello, my name's Susan.
May I join you?
Oh, please sit down.
Thank you. You know, my friends tell me a lot of lawyers come here. Are you a lawyer?
No, I'm an accountant, but I do work for a law firm.
Well, now that sounds interesting. What kind of work do you specialize in?
Entertainment law.
Oh, now that's exciting. Do you like it?
Oh, I love it. You know, you wouldn't believe the things that we hear and see in the field.
Like what?
Well, the other day I was on the phone and someone else was on the other line,
Yeah.
and I picked it up and you wouldn't believe who it was.
Who?
I was listening and I almost recognized the voice, and then I realized it was Jimmy Stewart. Can you believe he was actually calling me?
Jimmy Stewart was calling you? Oh, my goodness.
It was extraordinary.
Now that was much better. This guy introduced himself properly, waited for an invitation to sit down, asked questions about the woman, and showed a genuine interest in her. It's useful to keep the following in mind when talking to a woman. Make eye contact with her the whole time. Don't look around the room and appear distracted. Make her feel special. Don't forget to smile. Nod to show your interest. Lean towards her. This will draw her to you. It's also useful to repeat her name, but not too often. Most importantly, listen carefully to what she's saying. That's the key. When you talk, it's helpful to paint word pictures. For instance, when you describe an event you went to, describe what it felt like, what you saw. Create a story that puts the listener into the picture with you. And be enthusiastic. This will get her enthusiastic and excited about being with you.
If they're especially educated in something, you know, that's kind of masculine or, you know, whatever it may be, then I think it's interesting to me to hear about it. I get excited for them because if they get really into it, I get really into it.
Now, don't be afraid to show your interest. That's very important. But at the same time, be prepared to let go of the conversation at any point. Be ready and willing to walk away. You want to convey the feeling that you think she's great, but you don't need her. Remember, there's always more women to talk to. Also, keep in mind when talking to a woman that she's experienced the following scene all too often.
I really like this woman. She's hanging on my every word. I guess being a dentist is more interesting than I thought.
This feels wonderful. I think I'm really falling for this guy.
I love her hair. And those eyes. I'll never get tired of looking at those eyes.
This could be the one. Ron is great, and we still get along so well.
I hate this. I just don't feel it anymore.
I have a funny feeling, though. I wonder what he's thinking.
She's such a nice person. I hate to hurt her.
Oh, don't be silly. Everything's all right.
Okay, Ron. Gotta do it, man. Time to tell her.
Because many women have had this experience, they're often cautious and afraid. Don't take it personally. If a woman doesn't seem to be wild about you right away, she just may have come out of a bad relationship or maybe shy or scared. That's why it's important to try to make a woman feel safe. You want to win her trust. The best way to do this is to be honest and genuine. That's very important. If you're dishonest, a woman will feel it, even if she can't put her finger on it, and it could make her feel suspicious and defensive. Now let's hear from Rebecca about how to keep a conversation interesting.
Many men ask me, what is it that women want? Well, what they want most of all is more intimate and open communication. Women want to hear less about what kind of work you do and car you drive, and more about your thoughts and feelings. You may think that women are looking for the strong, silent type, and that might have been true 20 years ago, but times have changed. Now women are turned on to a man who's sensitive and open. That makes a woman feel like she's getting to know you as a person and creates a bond between you. Basically, they're looking for a best friend as well as a lover.
I'd like to get to know men as people, you know, and I find that hard sometimes.
They won't share their feelings all the time, you know, they don't like, Or even if they do, they just don't express themselves, so you don't understand them.
Be honest with the woman. Be as open as you possibly can. Let her know how you feel about her, if you can get it out, about life in general. Just be honest. Don't tell her what you think she wants to hear. Tell her what's really in your heart.
So you may be wondering, how do I do this? Start by opening up in little ways. Let her know how you're feeling about something that's happening to both of you, like how you feel about the movie you just saw, or the kind of day you had, or how you really feel about her. It's important not to just tell the facts, like I worked hard today, but the feelings too, like how you felt about your boss pressuring you. In turn, listen to how she expresses her feelings and sympathize with her without trying to solve her problems. Try to see things from her perspective. She's not looking for advice, but for a friend. If you listen to a woman, she'll tell you everything you need to know to win her heart.
And men, it's like they just don't listen. They don't listen to what women are saying. It's almost like we spell it out for them. This is what will make us happy, 1 to 10. This is all you need to do, and I will be your most loving, wonderful girlfriend, wife, whatever you need.
Women are attracted to a man who's spontaneous. It's stimulating and exciting when we don't know what to expect next. Being spontaneous means being in the here and now with a woman, rather than wondering what you're going to say next. It means taking a chance on being yourself, rather than screening or editing what you plan to say next. If you're not afraid to express the way you really feel, you'll come across in a more genuine way, and that really turns a woman on.
Men are sexy when, with physical features, or just when they're really sincere, when they do something like something really goofy that's kind of stupid, but you know they're doing it just because they like you. I think that's sexy. And just like when they're just out there being themselves, having a really good time, and not bothering to put up a front, if they know somebody's watching them, trying to be something different when they're themselves. I like that.
If a woman does seem interested in you, here's some advanced flirting tips, probably not to be used on the first encounter. Touch her on the arm or hand briefly, and then slowly withdraw. If you're very bold, you might want to touch her briefly on the cheek. Women find this very sexy. Women are especially turned on by a soft, low, husky voice whispering near their ear. Avoid overtly sexual comments and speak in a slow, intimate voice that will draw her nearer. When speaking directly into her ear, make it short and sweet, and do it only once. You might say, "I love the way you smell," or "I'm glad I met you." That's powerful.
Okay, guys, you've successfully approached her and you've had a good conversation. Now, don't make the mistake of not asking her out, or at least getting her phone number. Sometimes guys will back off of this crucial point because they don't want to get shot down. But you've come this far, so don't quit now. And don't make the mistake of postponing this part for too long and then overstaying your welcome. Spend enough time for her to get to know you, but leave soon enough so that there's still some mystery. Notice how in this video, the man finds a complimentary and playful way to ask for a date.
I really enjoyed talking to you. So, are you old enough to date? Well, would you date me if I behave, huh?
It depends on how you behave.
How about dinner next Saturday?
Love to.
Can I have your number?
Sure.
Pretty good, huh? He made asking for the date playful and sexy, so she was in the mood to say yes. Now let's hear from Rebecca about how women feel about being asked out.
Most women prefer a man to be confident enough to ask for a date instead of just her phone number. If he asks for her phone number, he might not call, but if he makes a date, she knows he's really interested. Have a business card or a pen or a piece of paper handy so you don't have to fumble around. So men, remember, there are a lot of women out there who would love to meet you. Now that you have the tools to make it happen, you have a big advantage. So good luck.
Meeting women is a numbers game. At the beginning, you may fail more often than you succeed. That's normal, and it will get better. It's just the nature of this particular game, not a reflection on your looks, style, or personality. We suggest you follow our 30-day action plan to get maximum results from this program. Since the beginning is the hardest part, our action plan is a graduated program for mastering the art of meeting women. You may want to take notes about what happens as you go through this month. Also, it may be very useful to review this video, especially the 5 approaches. During the first week of the program, we suggest you concentrate on the inner game. Spend some time, maybe a few minutes each day, visualizing yourself approaching women in a successful way. Try to see yourself with as much detail as possible, using each of the 5 approaches, having an interesting conversation, and then getting the woman's phone number. This technique of visualization is very powerful and is used by Olympic athletes, successful businessmen, and many others to get comfortable with success before it happens. Because of the way the brain works, the visualization becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. At this point, it's also helpful to get a buddy to support you through this program. Ideally, somebody who will go through it with you. Then you can support each other and have somebody to talk to about what happens. During week number 1, we also suggest you start smiling at as many women as you can. Just walk down the street and catch their eye and smile. Now, some women will be a little uncomfortable and look away. Remember, they aren't used to this. And a lot of women will smile back. That's all you have to do the first week. Sounds simple, but this crucial step will get you comfortable with making contact with more women and will set the stage for the next 3 steps. During week number 2, we suggest that you focus on striking up conversations with women when you find the opportunities present themselves. You're not trying to pick them up, just getting used to talking to them more often than you would. Let's say you're waiting in line in the supermarket, or you're in an elevator, and normally you just kind of sneak glances at her or be lost in your thoughts. Well, this time, just say something. You're just starting some conversations. If it leads to something, okay, but that's not the point for this week. During week number 3, we suggest you approach 4 different women and ask at least one for her phone number. This is your practice week. Don't worry about results. You just want to find out what works and what doesn't. We suggest you try using as many of the 5 different approaches as you can so that you can see what feels most natural to you. We also suggest that you start out with women who you feel you have the best chance with. In other words, don't go for the most attractive women right off, but work your way up to that. Everybody's going for the top 10%, but these women are often the least interesting and most difficult to get. Take it easy on yourself and start approaching women who will be fun to be with and also who you could have some early success with. Remember, this week is about testing your skills, so don't worry about results. During week number 4, we suggest that you approach 4 new women with the goal to come away with at least 1 phone number. This is the week you put it all together and come up with your best effort as a result of what you learned from this course. Now, by this time, you'll have talked to 8 women and put into practice a variety of approaches. If you got a date, great. If not, that's great too. Remember, it's just a matter of time. There's lots of women out there, and some of them are going to be really turned on by you. The most important thing to remember is after this 30-day period, you should have a huge advantage over the rest of the guys out there. I'm sure you're going to really appreciate the effort you put out when you're sitting across from this very attractive woman that you're crazy about and who thinks you're the sexiest guy in the world. The best part will be that you met her through your own guts and initiative. Good luck.
What's the matter?
Nothing. I live here, that's all.
Oh,
Well, night.
good night. Oh, do you mind if I ask you a personal question?
Guess not.
Have you got a Victrola inside?
Why, yes, of course.
Would you let me hear this one? Otherwise, I'll have to take it home and imagine how it sounds.
Don't you have a machine at home?
No.
Well, why on earth did you buy 27? Ha, ha, ha.
In my dreams.
What a hunk.
I'm in love.
Do you know the most important thing to say when you first meet someone? Are you aware of the 3 things that the opposite sex finds the most attractive? Do you know where and how to find the dream relationship you've always wanted? The answers to these questions and much more are available in this breakthrough new program, Love, Sex, and Dating in the 90s. The secrets of successful romance have been transformed into the most effective program of its kind ever developed. Authors Stephen Newmark, Rebecca Sidnor, and Luann Cole are the leading experts in the field of love, sex, and dating. Together, they deliver to you the latest information taken from their live seminars. Now you can receive the powerful results from these seminars in the comfort of your own home. Call now and order Love, Sex, and Dating in the 90s and discover where and how to meet people easily, how to prepare for a date to ensure success, how to use the keys to seduction, what men and women really want, their sexual secrets, and how to make a relationship work.